All right, here with Caitlyn Smith, Whiskey Riff Raff.
Hey, hey,
Caitlyn,
hey. Hi.
your your story is something I want to start with because when I was, your site bio and all these things, the thing that jumped out at me was kind of like the persistence of your story when you were going to Nashville. And I think it's just even if somebody's not a songwriter or an artist and they're just listening because they're fans of music or whatever, can you give us a little bit of what was the impetus to say, I'm doing this, I'm making the 14-hour drives to Nashville from Minnesota, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm not going to take no for an answer, and kind of how that built to where you are now?
I think I got my great grandfather's stubborn gene for sure, and I just never have taken no for an for an answer. But I first came to Nashville. My mom drove me down here when I was 16, and I just fell in love with Music City. And I also learned on that first trip that songwriting was a job that you could have and my mind was blown, because for me that was like, oh, this is a perfect plan B. Like, well, I figure out what I want to do as an artist and what I want to say as an artist. Like, I can try and get a publishing deal and write songs. That's fun. And so, I just started to take trips because, I only knew like one person when I first went to Nashville, but then they introduced me to a couple people, and then, went back to Minnesota, saved up some money, came back. And so I did that for years because it was so intriguing to me. It was like, the community here, I felt so like a part of something, right? Like, these are all people that just want to make stuff up for their job. Like, this is so cool. Like, a whole town of music people. And so like, I just was I felt like I found my people, and I found like a purpose. And so that's really what kept me like going back. And, I've always had thick skin. I think I started at like cold calling venues as a 12-year-old, being like, book our band. Oh, no? Okay, well, try again next year. And then like, I just have always been persistent, and I don't really know why.
Kids these days could learn a thing or two from that. Right? What the
fuck? Awesome.
Well, I imagine too, like, you kind of got to be a little bit crazy, like in a good way, to like want to like chase a dream as like an artist or a songwriter even, or a comedian, actor, to internet bloggers, like whatever your dream is. Like, so when you get to Nashville and you meet that community of like-minded people, I imagine it's pretty like refreshing to be like, all right, these people get it.
Yeah.
My friends back home, they don't get it. And
they don't get it. I am crazy. They're like, sure, you're going to Nashville, kid, have fun with that. Like, right. And, and then you come to Nashville where everybody's trying to do that same thing. And I don't know, it's kind of like you feel a little validated, like, all right, I'm not the only crazy person. Let's all do this.
No, totally. And it's funny because Wes and I met in Chicago when we went to college at DePaul, but I'm from Indiana, like northern Indiana, and then he was from kind of like western Illinois. And then I think just in the Midwest, there was obviously a ton of country fans. So when I went to high school, it was country music and rap. That was it. So like your burnt CD was Nelly, and then Brooks and Dunn, and then Kenny Chesney, and then 50 Cent, and then Alan Jackson, and then George Strait, and then Trisha Yearwood, and then
totally
Lil Flip or somebody. I don't even know who was around back then. But like,
man.
You know what I'm talking about? Like those.
Up the Little Flip.
Yeah.
I actually just saw somebody was like, happy birthday, don't forget about this guy. And I was like, oh.
Oh my gosh.
But like, you remember that era. I think we're all around the same age. So it's, and then, but the thing was, when we went to college in a big city, nobody we knew at that time. So this was like, what,
2008, 9,
whatever. Nobody liked country music that we knew, or like no matter what we did. And then all of a sudden we just started seeing it change. We felt like we were doing a part in that. Like, this is well before we were doing this, but it was really cool to see kind of the growth of it.
Yeah.
I wonder for you, where you're from, was because you were outside of like Minneapolis, right? But
yeah.
Was it big, like country music, or was it kind of?
a similar thing to y'all's story too. I mean, I grew up on country radio, but I mean, my parents listened to a bunch of stuff, you know, so it was like rock and roll, and my mom played show tunes on the piano. And so I grew up on a lot, but it was always country radio was on in our house. And so I grew up on that. I grew up singing country music, like at state fair, stuff like that. Like it was a thing. And then for a while it was like not that cool, right? Like, I don't know, like but then it wasn't until like, you know, even after like going to Nashville a couple times, like country music still wasn't that cool. I was more like, I'm gonna sing folk music. That's cool, right? But then it was like maybe a couple of years after going to Nashville, like, there definitely was a shift to like, I don't know what it was. Like I had a friend that I was hanging out with, and he always had country music on, and I was like, wait a second, and then it was cool.
It seemed like that, right? It was just like,
yeah, boom. I know. I don't know why.
Well, we would go to Nashville for
4th of July.
4th of July. That was our like start of Nashville. We were just those guys that went when we were young and single and
drank our ass off on
lower Broadway. Looking back, I have a 10-month-old baby now, and like I can't like wrap my head around me and that like. Trust me, I can still handle myself in that environment of
right.
tequila and
ain't as good as I once was, but it's good once.
Exactly.
But even right, Wes and I were talking, and Wes published this post from one of our writers yesterday with like ranking the bars. Even that change on like Broadway the last 6 years or so has been insane, and you're seeing a little like the commercialized element of right. What's like the I mean, what did we have? What did Aaron have in number 1 on that list? Was AJ's, right?
AJ's, right? Yeah, AJ's. Alan Jackson's good.
Do you want to fill her in on what we're talking about on the?
Just all the celebrity-owned bars, and now Miranda's having one too.
No, Miranda has one. I saw that today. I know and I haven't been down on Broadway in a minute. You know, it's like you move to Nashville and you do it like
you stay away
every weekend for like a few months, and then you're like, oh, okay, done. You get burned out on it. So I remember, you know, it was like when Tootsie's was like so much smaller, right? There was just like there was 2 stages. It wasn't a million floors, and it was like you'd go to Tootsie's, you go to Roberts, but now it's like commercial hours, like it's a big friggin' deal. Broadway is, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are some of your spots in Nashville that you like to hang out?
I mean, if I've got people in town and they want to go to Broadway, I say I'll only take you to Robert's Western World. Like you just go to Robert's, we'll sneak in the back door, and you know we can dance a little bit, and then we're gonna leave. But you know, my favorite place to hear music in Nashville is the Ryman. Any show that you see there is like the best. It's mind blowing. But I just love like the little venues too, of like the Basement East, the Basement OG, like I'm trying to think. Third and Lindsley's great. There's just, this town is overflowing with incredible music spots. So feel grateful for that.
How long did it really take you to get like plugged into like a solid songwriting community?
Yeah.
Because like one of your songs was "This Town Is Killing Me," which is phenomenal song. I think that's when I first got onto your music. But like, it's a grind, and it takes a long time, to say the least.
For sure. I mean, since I started coming to Nashville, since I was 16 years old, right? I've been writing songs here a long time. And I signed my first publishing deal in 2010. And, you know, it was still years and years after that where I still felt like, because what you have to get used to as a songwriter is hearing no. You write a song and you think, this is my new song, baby, it's the best thing ever. And then you turn it into your publisher and they're like, you know, and so you do that every day and you're like, that's what kind of starts wearing on you, is like, that's why I wrote that song, because it was like, I had spent years and years writing songs, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty jaded, and I'm like in my 20s, cool.
Well, I was thinking about this just now when I was grabbing laundry right before we hit, and I was like, oh, like we talk so much, and like fans are so, they have their artists that they love, and then they get very like militant about like, I hate these other styles of music, right? And it's very obvious, like whether it's Texas or bro country, or they're more traditional or whatever. But like behind the scenes, a lot of people like don't like go past that. And it's like the songwriters are there, and there's a lot of songwriters, and it's similar for me, the way I look at me, like you're like to me like a top of the line songwriter. But then there's like a lot of songwriting in Nashville that comes out that's, let's make money, let's get that buzzy buzzword type out or song out and get like the big name to record it, and then you know, it doesn't have the same kind of feel of like it came from a real place. It kind of speaks to the soul. Is it ever frustrating throughout the process of being a songwriter to kind of, I don't want to say compare yourself, but kind of see the varying levels of styles, and they say, oh, should I change what I'm doing, or should I just stick to my guns?
Man, I mean, that's an incredible question. And that's truly where the guts of This Town Is Killing Me, what you were talking about, that song came from. It's really the struggle as a songwriter, as an artist, writing songs in Nashville, the struggle between art and commerce. It's always there in the room every day. And you sit down and you're like, well, I just heard this song on the radio today. Do we want to write something that's like that? Or do you want to write blah, blah, blah? They're like, you know, something else. And so it's always this struggle. And there's definitely like something that happens when you move to town and you see what's working. It's like, oh, should I be doing that? Like, you definitely, that goes through your head every day. Like, God, should I just be writing like that? And, you know, some people choose to do that and it works and they find success, and that's great for them. That's awesome. For me, just living more on like the artist side of things, it's way harder to then go, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go, because I feel like I could sit down and, I could write those and that's fine. But it's fine, cool. I'd probably make a lot more money. Well, I don't know.
But you might be miserable.
I might be miserable. But that's the thing, is like, I can't do that every day and really like feel fulfilled. For me, I would rather sit down and find guts and emotion of a song and really like try and like sing something I believe, right? Make something up that I believe. And but it is definitely a struggle, because you see your friends around you like having success with stuff that's a little more, you know, and that stuff, I'm not knocking like music that's just like commercial top country hits, right? Like, there is a place for that. I want to hear that song, you know, on a Sunday and drink a beer, you know, and like just, I want to feel that way sometimes. Yep. But maybe I'm not that kind of writer. I don't know.
I love that you said Sunday. I want to hear that on Sunday and drink beer.
Drink some beer. Like,
not Friday night, not Saturday night, not Sunday.
Right.
It's an underrated beer, the Sunday beer. We just ranked a bunch of beers today on the site, like the best times to drink a beer, you know, so like after you do yard work or after you, the 7 a.m. airport beer, right?
Oh yeah.
If you're going to like Mexico for vacation and your flight's at like 9 a.m. so you're at the airport at 7.
You need that beer, like
every
get in your head all ready for vacation. That's the
best beer.
Well, now they don't even serve beer on planes anymore. It's like I can get a Sprite, but I can't get a beer.
Disappointing.
Oh wait, you can get Sprite. Wait, I wasn't. I haven't been on a plane for quite a while.
I was in Denver,
Chicago. You can't get alcohol on planes right now.
Oh wait, what's the reasoning behind that versus like Sprite, Coke, or whatever?
I assume you get too drunk.
Oh, they just don't want drunk people.
Or less.
I think they don't want drunk people, like with like, because I don't know.
The mask
and the drunk and I don't know. I don't think that mixes.
That's funny. So, but your new single now, I saw your video on Instagram where you were in the car, I think, listening to, in Minnesota, I believe, listening to your song with Old Dominion, I Can't. How did that come about to work with them?
Man, oh, well, I am so excited about this single. And, you know, so I'll back up a little bit before I answer that question. You know, my latest record, Supernova, was released on March 13th, 2020, which was literally when lockdown happened for us. Like I was on the road with Little Big Town. We got pulled off the road. All of our promo stuff for the record got canceled. And so all that to say, my record release of 2020 kind of got eaten by the Corona monster, which was disappointing. But so the label and my team and I were like, okay, well, let's take another shot at releasing this record since no one was paying attention to music at all. So we decided to try re-releasing the record in the fall, like as a deluxe. And then, Shane McAnally is my A&R guy. And him and I sat down and we're like, well, what if we do like a collab on this, on the deluxe? We give people a little something extra. And then he threw out the idea of Old Dominion, and I was like, okay, you can ask them. That'd be awesome. They're not going to say yes. They're like, they haven't done a single collab ever. Like, I just thought it was a pipe dream. Cool. And so he showed them the song and they loved it. And they're like, we want to do this. We all want to play on it. So we booked some studio time and we actually cut the song like very socially distanced. Like I was in Minnesota. They were in Nashville. Like my other producer was in LA. And so we were very far apart, like recording this song. But it came out as magic. And I'm so grateful they agreed to like hop on this song. And, it turned out so good that they're like, there was some radio people that heard it and were like, can we play this? And we're like, we're not really putting out as a single yet. They're like, can this please be a single? Like, they're like, we're going to play it, whatever. And we're like, wait. So long story short is, I've been in Nashville like over a decade. And this is my very first like country radio single as an artist, all thanks to Old Dominion. And that's really my silver lining of 2020. So I'm very grateful.
The whole COVID thing is crazy. Like your story, and like we talked to plenty of artists throughout on Zoom here now because we're in the office and stuff. And you were gonna be on tour. You were mentioning with Little Big Town, but George Strait, right?
I had stadium dates with George Strait.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. That's depressing.
So here we go. So everybody has their. Not just in music, but like across the board, people have gone through hell with lockdowns and COVID and their businesses and all that, and people dying. But when it comes to like when you see the venues in Nashville hurting and like the artists and the musicians playing, to have something lined up with the King and then COVID to hit, like that's top. It doesn't get much worse than that, in my opinion.
Right.
Like it doesn't get.
You are gonna make me cry really quick.
but I think George seems like a very. We haven't met him in person. That's like one of our dream scenarios. But he seems like the type of guy. He's gonna make it right one day.
Oh,
or you guys will kind of.
I hope so.
You guys will find a way to do something again, because, I mean that has to be like a super exciting opportunity just to have, let alone
for sure. Even the fact that they were like on the schedule, that we were like gonna do it, it's really magical. And we got to play one show with him at Gillette Stadium.
Cool. Oh, wow.
And he sat side stage and watched our whole set, which was like mind blowing, like playing a show and tequila. Then like, and his tequila is literally the best tequila I've ever had.
It's the best. We've talked about this at length. It's the best. It's better than George Clooney's. It's better than George Clooney's.
It is. I love George Clooney's too.
It's better than the Rocks too. I had high hopes for the Rocks because it's like these are like guys.
Yeah.
Tequila, and then it's like, good job, Wes.
I got George in here too.
George is in here. Oh.
Yeah, but George's tequila is by far the best I've ever had.
Nice tequila. Honestly, yes.
They're not. They should be paying us. They're not.
I'll take a case any day. No, it's so good. We always, my band and I, we always do a shot of tequila before we go out on stage. It's our little thing that we do.
I like that.
It just, warms the heart in just the right way before you go out there.
Gets the vocal cords nice and loose.
Yes, it does.
sounds like us before a podcast. Wes, what's the thing? Wes told me something we would say to kind of loosen up the
What would
Red-
you say? Red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather. Yeah. Like
That's not easy. That's not easy.
red leather, yellow leather.
And
Tequila,
Brown
and
cow.
tequila is interesting. Like my wife tends to get a lot more energetic on tequila.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then some people get like violent on it. And then some people it's like, I can't have it.
And
like
tequila makes your clothes fall off?
Joe Nichols, very underrated.
Right.
The song's not underrated, but Joe Nichols is underrated.
I love how that song too is about going to the Holiday Inn, like
Oh, I didn't realize that.
like the bar in the Holiday Inn.
That's the best. Oh, I love that.
What's the worst hangover though for you? Like as far as alcohol these days?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, it's if I have champagne, I
I
am
was
going
gonna say.
it's any amount though. It's any amount of
Yes.
champagne. And like we've celebrated a couple times now with like having like a single on country radio. You gotta celebrate all of the wins like that. So we campaign recently in last month, and I feel it. I am not like as good as I once was, right?
Wes, what about for you?
Ooh, champagne's up there. I don't even drink it just because I don't know. I don't really like it that much. And then on top of it, it makes my head want to fall off. Gin is another one that's pretty bad where I just feel like the gin drunk for me is like kind of crazy. And but I do like a Negroni. I made one the other day and I had one and was like, I am toasted. One Negroni.
Need to the right place like very quickly.
Right. I realized quickly, and we did some tests with beer, and weirdly Heineken is like the one beer that you get the least hangover from.
Oh,
in our opinion. And we've actually read about that because it's like European, they have more strict regulations. Like it's only like 3 ingredients or 4 and blah, blah, blah. But the wine, the threshold for like wine, for like a $9 bottle of wine and then like a $22 bottle of wine.
Yep.
It's just like insane.
It is insane. And
so those are like a bad wine hangover. That's
a bad wine hangover is a bummer. You're right. I feel like I can have like a good tequila night and I can wake up with eyelashes stuck to my cheeks. You know, I could wake up with lipstick all over and still be like, all right, let's go, baby. Like, I feel like I'm okay with, but man, like going to Napa, we played some Napa shows in the before times, right?
That seems like an amazing, like, playing in Napa Valley. We had the French Laundry at the restaurant.
No, that's definitely a bucket list.
Same for me. Yeah.
That's like, yeah, so nice. But I mean, I feel like you get a bunch of good wine, and you're like, oh, it's
juice.
I'm just gonna keep going down the hatch, and then it's just regrets.
Nausea the next day. I can't even my equilibrium is all off.
And it's just like 800 pounds.
It's so true.
The problem for me too is that my wife will have like one glass and then I'm like, well, I
finish the bottle.
Rest of the bottle.
Oh, that's most nights my husband and I, right?
Like, do you want wine? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I get. I'm
gonna have half a glass, and then you gotta finish the rest of the bottle.
That's amazing. That's my husband and I most nights.
but Caitlyn, and you should ask him. Like, he may not express this, but for me, if I'm in the mood to drink, and my wife says, "Oh, I want to have a glass of wine," and I'm like, I get excited because I go, "It's probably gonna be a glass of wine, and I'm gonna have the rest of the wine." So it's like there's certain times where it's not like a burden. It's like kind of exciting. You're just like, perfect. Like,
I love that.
This is for me.
Yeah, this bottle, and I'm like, listen, I'm 195 pounds. You're not. I can handle the wine.
Yep. Yes.
More than you can, and I've drank more than you have over the years. So it's like perfect. Like, let's go. Let's a box wine now. Now we have good box wine.
They do have good box wine,
which makes it even more dangerous. That shit sits in your fridge for 30 days and it's fresh. and it's fucking good.
It's getting stronger.
It is. I don't know. It is. It's amazing. I'm very, very grateful for good box wine. Normally what I'll do is I'll like, we'll get the good bottle out, it's like $12.
I would say $14. Yeah.
Yeah, $14. Like there's the good wine.
I said 22 earlier. I'm not trying to be
Yo.
That's like you're celebrating something, okay? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Okay, but
it's true.
you have the good wine. My husband drinks the most, but then then you move to the box wine, and then it's a mess.
Yeah, I love that.
Fantastic. Well, if we ever meet in person, we'll bring we'll bring a $22 bottle of wine from Steve's cabinet.
Well, guys, then we're really doing.
Like a $22 bottle of wine at like a restaurant is gonna be like fucking $80. So
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
whoa. Yeah, so you're just like, fuck it, I'll buy it.
Oh my gosh, y'all know it's really great on wine though. Mixing songwriting with wine. I find that is an excellent. It's an excellent. Like it takes all of the filters away. I find I write different songs at night than during the day. Different songs are written with a bottle of wine for sure.
What about, I'm in Colorado, obviously, like weed's becoming legal a lot of places. Do you?
I love edibles. I love weed. Absolutely.
Yeah. And because for me, that nothing alters my. See, it's not reality. It's bringing out what's already in your head, right? So if you take an edible and you start looking at things way more positively, it's not inaccurate. It's in your brain already. It's just helping you kind of like focus on the positives and like, oh, what am I stressed out about? I will literally laugh on an edible, be like, what are you fucking stressed out about? And I'll like look around, so
what's wrong, man?
Yeah. With songwriting, or does it get too weird if you're on like?
I think I feel like most times, and I feel like a lot of my first record was written like partaking in the beautiful herb
It's a plant.
It is a beautiful thing, and I feel like it can open some corners of your mind that maybe are closed off in a really wonderful way. And so I feel like I don't smoke weed every time I write. I feel like there's a time and a place for it, and sometimes I'll smoke and write a great song, and some days I'll smoke and write a terrible song. So it's just hard to know, with or without it. But I do feel like, I think I get cooler melodies.
Do you record with like a drink or a smoke or anything like that ever?
Yeah, like sometimes. Yeah, sometimes for sure. It just depends what it is and what song it is and what it's for. But sometimes you need a little something to loosen you up or get you in a headspace. Right?
When you wrote Tacoma, did you have an edible?
No. That is a great story, though. I'd love to tell you guys. So it was the first time I had written with Bob DiPiero. And he's a Hall of Fame songwriter. He's an absolute legend. Never written with this guy. I was so nervous. And I remember driving there, and on my way, I was thinking, I have literally no ideas. I don't know what we're going to write about. I have no titles. I have nothing profound rolling around in this little noggin. I just was like, I'm feeling embarrassed and stressed. And I was at the stoplight, and I put the address for his office in my phone, and my Apple Maps took me all the way to Tacoma instead of Mcgraw. And I looked at it and I was like, and I was like, oh, that's a great title, actually. And then I click open my voice memo, and I'm like driving and voice memoing, and I'm like, I just start singing the first verse like into my phone, like all because of Apple Maps, which is crazy. And so, I got to the right, and I was like, Bob, nice to meet you. I have this idea. I don't know. It's called Tacoma. He's like, this is amazing. And so we wrote the song in like an hour. It was like the roof opened up and the song just fell down. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite songs that I've been a part of. But it's crazy to see that, like, you just never know where a song idea is going to come from either. And I think, as a writer, the biggest thing is like, it's just showing up. Even if you feel like even if you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like writing, I feel too sad today. Like,
go right.
On your baby and just go, because what if your co-writer has the best idea, has the next song of the year title, right, or whatever. So Anyways, that's one of my favorite stories. Apple Maps is why that song exists.
Yeah,
I think Garth did that, right?
And then Garth cut it, which is crazy. I was like in another writing session and I like my phone dings and I look at it and it's an email from Garth Brooks. And I was like, wait, this isn't real. And he was like, hey, Caitlyn.
What kind of email does Garth have?
Hotmail? Was he a Hotmail guy?
I don't know. I think it was a Gmail. I think, of course, Garth Mail.
gbrooks@gmail.com.
Oh my God. I hope that's not what it was, but wouldn't that be?
I actually didn't even know that he cut that until after the fact because I don't have Amazon Music or whatever the hell G was using at the time.
Yeah, totally.
Ghost Tunes.
Ghost Tunes was it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I never got on the Ghost Tunes wagon, but that was like always one of my favorite songs of yours, and then just the vocal performance is fucking awesome. But I was like, wait a minute, Garth Brooks cut this? Like, holy shit!
You guys, like, so epic. He's such a hero to me, and like I remember being a little kid, and my brother and I would be like making pretend music videos to Thunder Rolls, and you know, he's like obviously he's an icon, and so to have him step into my reality and be like a fan, and he's such a champion, like, and like, you know, I've gotten to, you know, hang out with him a couple times over the years and sing on his records, and it's just like he's an icon. I just can't even believe.
People need to understand because we bust his balls because he's just kind of like the whole like Tom Segura. He's like kind of a weird. He's like your dad on social media type.
I love it though.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like
endearing.
But we're never hiding the fact. Of course, we grew up listening to Garth Brooks like crazy. I was watching Cody Canada yesterday, or it was a couple nights ago on Facebook Live, like sticking up for him, being like, hey, okay, I get it, but like this guy's fucking like from my hometown, and he's from like this Oklahoma small town and all this stuff, and it's funny now because it's just like all the social media and stuff, and you got G out there doing the Facebook. It's, you know, it's official. It's great though. It's like it's fun. It's like he's like Mr. Yearwood and like hashtag like, so all that stuff is funny.
His goals though, like the way on it, and that specific element too, like the way that he speaks about his wife, speaks to his wife, like when he's so like he is just a walking like lesson, and any like chance I get to like be around him and like see that, and I'm like taking notes, right? It's like the way he puts his wife on a pedestal.
Yeah, I was watching it's like Saturday morning we'll throw on like Food Network, and it's always got like the weird, and it was Trisha's Southern Kitchen.
Yeah.
And she's making these killer sandwiches or something, and then she's driving it down the farm to like, and there's people working, and there's Garth with a shovel, gloves, and I'm like watching my wife's more paying attention, and I was like, he didn't dig that hole. Do you think he dug that hole? But they like had like a thing, like was Garth doing that, or was that just like, hey Garth, like Trisha's gonna drive in and give you a sandwich in a cooler, or is Garth the type that he just wants to fuck around in the field a little bit and dig a hole?
I'm gonna vote he's actually digging that hole.
All right, cool.
I think he's digging the hole.
Cool.
Just doing that.
You think he's digging the hole?
Have you seen what he wears to some of these press conferences? I think he's digging the hole. Like he's wearing jeans that don't fit and boots and like Wrangler. Like he looks like my dad went to Walmart and just closed his eyes and picked some shit.
It's the best.
Which is, I think, how my dad shops.
Y'all, it is the best, but it is the absolute best. I think he just is who he is, and I feel like that's why so many people. Okay, besides the songs being the best songs ever, besides his voice being the best voice ever, like the thing about Garth is he is so authentic. He is country music, right? He's wearing Wranglers and he cries. He's like he is just so endearing.
We gotta meet Garth.
Vulnerable, real. Y'all gotta meet him. You're gonna die.
We gotta meet him. I'm worried that he kind of knows that we kind of bust his balls here and there about some of this funny stuff, and he's gonna say, I know you guys.
Probably does. He remembers everybody's name, and like he's got the crazy mind that remembers everyone. It's insane.
I
wish I had that gift.
G.
Yeah,
No,
it's G
he's a
for
total
you.
G.
Speaking of, I feel like we talked about Strait and Garth, and this is just random, but did you open up for Tim and Faith too?
Yes, that was crazy, y'all. That was insane. So I opened up
Third wheel. Yeah.
their Soul to Soul tour. It was my first time like playing arenas, which was insanity. And they like talk about taking notes, right? They write the book on class, right? As far as being incredible humans. And and I've toured with a lot of people, and like it always just comes from the top down. And like I feel like I'm still trying to make it, right? And so as an opening act, you notice like, and every single person on their whole team is just like the best person ever, and they treat everyone with so much respect. And so I mean, that was iconic, watching them play every night, and seeing they're just icons. It's literally, I can't even believe that really happened.
when they get real physical on like I Need You Now, or is it he's like putting his hands up like there's some photos of it obviously over you're like
face on the chairs, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh shit! You got to reevaluate your marriage after you watch them perform.
Okay, some babies are hopefully being made after this show tonight. I think it's amazing though, and like, I mean, they're just incredible people. And I went out too. I was probably 5 months pregnant, so I had a little baby belly, and they were so kind. And Tim kept asking if my husband and I wanted to. He carries his whole gym with them, and they do CrossFit workouts.
Oh yeah.
Every show, and he's like, "Y'all want to come work out with us tomorrow? You're welcome anytime." Like, and we pull up to the he's like shirt off, just like those big ropes. He's like, like whatever, just lifting every single muscle. Like, he has muscles I didn't even know were on a human body.
He's got a tractor tire, and he's just like, I'm gonna drag this out and flip it around.
I think he does have a tractor tire out there.
I mean, there's been big muscular young guys like Brantley Gilbert and Kip Moore and other guys that have opened for Tim.
Yeah.
That have said like working out with him is like no fucking way. Like that's a different type of.
Not as a pregnant woman, like, and Faith was standing right there, and she was like laughing, and I'm like, wait, don't you work out with him? And she's like, no, like, so she doesn't even get on that level.
4 Christmases always with Vince Vaughn, where Tim McGraw is like the really like overweight like guy with the, what is he wearing, like a
bandana do-rag or a bandana?
Yeah, and then he's like an MMA guy, like a hillbilly MMA guy.
Have you seen that movie?
This?
No, what movie is this? I don't know.
Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn, 4 Christmases. It's like a rom-com for a Christmas movie.
Next Christmas, mark it on your calendar.
Well, Tim McGraw's in it, and he's looks nothing like Tim McGraw. Yeah. And then it came out. It's always on TBS or whatever around the holidays. And then this year it's on, and then I asked my wife, I'm like, who that is, right? She's like, what? I'm like, that's Tim fucking McGraw. Like,
yeah,
he left it out. Wait, we posted that. He left that clip out of his like movie montage.
He did a highlight reel of all the movies he was in, and they left that clip out, and that's his best movie.
It's his best movie, but it was like that style of Tim, so they left out.
Well, Friday Night Lights too. He was kind of.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. He's a pretty good actor. I'm surprised he doesn't do it more.
The Shack,
but that's, I don't know, that whole I was listening to like Travis Tritt today on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and he was talking about, I didn't even realize Travis Tritt was in some movies and shit back in the day, but it's weird. Or show or something, but like I could see that being weird when you hit a level of fame or like notoriety, and then they like, for you as a songwriter, and then like, and then now I'm with Old Dominion and I got a song on the radio in some places, and who knows what might happen next. The notoriety starts coming in, the attention starts coming, and then weird things start coming your way that you're just not even thinking about. I was never going to be an actor, and all of a sudden now, because I'm famous for playing music on stage, hey, do you want to act? It's like, wait, what?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm curious though if it's like an artist thing, because you know, like it's not that far off. Like acting and songwriting, like we just shot the
That's a good point. Yeah.
We just shot the Old Dominion music video yesterday, and like I'm like acting some pieces in there, and I was realizing, and there's a scene where I'm crying, y'all, and so I'm realizing,
oh shit,
having to access that and make it real.
Oh, you did that?
I did that. So
how long did that take?
That soon. It took about a minute to get there.
What did you have to think about?
I was getting into character, so I was thinking about the storyline of what the video is, which you'll see. It's very sad. And honestly, like the video is going to be very in step with like what we've all kind of been through in 2020 and people losing their jobs and businesses and like that. It's kind of hitting on that. And so really after a year like 2020, it's not too hard to access the tears.
Right.
I was gonna say, like, I think that there's a similar muscle, because I was realizing that as I'm trying to access that, it's a very similar feeling to trying to access the lyric truth in writing. Like I'm going to that same place because I want to access that to make the listener believe what I'm saying and really feel it. And I found myself, acting that video, but whatever, if it's good, I don't know. Whether or not it's good, it doesn't matter. I was able to cry because it was that same muscle. And that's what I wonder about, artists, singers, and artists, actors, is it's very similar question.
Yeah, I mean, no, you nailed that. And I think that's a great place to stop. And I want to actually point out one thing, that your energy and enthusiasm about like country music, Wes, and it's been one of the best that I think we've ever had on the podcast. Like I didn't know what to expect. We never talked to you obviously or met you in person or whatever, but you make me excited again to like, okay, yeah, things are gonna be all right. Like the music's coming out again, and like
it is. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I see it, and it's slowly coming back, and I feel like it's gonna be glorious when it's fully back. But one thing I did want to mention too is like we, for this radio tour we've been doing, we're not able to like go into all the stations, right? A lot of states are still closed down, but some are open. And then, thinking on all of these venues, right, that have been closed for a year. So the label and I, we've been renting out these venues in the cities that are allowed to have people. We've been renting out the venues so it helps them out, get some money flowing in there. And then inviting like a couple of the radio folks to come in and sit in on an actual live show. And I can't even tell you, okay, I'm in a club that, is for 500 people, but there's like, I'm playing for 4 people. I can't even tell you how exciting that is, because it's getting us closer to closer to right there, to back to reality. And like, even to sing on a real sound system in front of real humans, like, okay, we're back there again. It's not just
right
and hanging out with our dogs. Like,
right. I saw something about like the roaring 20s or whatever, like decade, like, and how after everything's back to like opened up, it's just going to be like debauchery again. People are just going to be wanting to
100%
like meet up with like whatever. If you're single, it's going to be one thing. If you're not, you want to go out and drink. It's like, and I was like reading, I'm like, this sounds exciting for a lot of different groups of people with where they're at in their lives. Like it's exciting for me as a young parent to like just go to a brewery with my dog who's sitting right here, was distracting me a second ago, and just go to a brewery and like not have to think about anything, or go to a Caitlyn Smith concert, or me and Wes go to Red Rocks and just take 20 edibles and just pass out.
Yeah.
Like
I can't wait we're going to experience this very soon, and it's going to be magical. Like, because we've had been deprived of our favorite things for a year, right? And we've all been kind of in our own little bubbles. It's going to be insanity. And also, I'm hoping, like, I feel like we've all had time to sit and think and work on whatever in our own little
Hopefully. Or you watch Netflix for a year.
I hope that wasn't it. But I just also feel like, there's going to be this great season of gratefulness and this great season of excitement. And like, I feel like so much beautiful art is going to come from it. And I feel like, I don't know, I just have a very optimistic feelings of what the future is going to hold.
I love it.
Yeah, we're all in the 20s. It's going to be amazing.
Let's do it.
Bring the flapper dresses back, baby. I'm here.
Thank you so much. I had a blast. That was the quickest almost hour that we probably ever had.
I could talk to you guys all fucking day.
Well, let's do it again soon.
Yeah,
let's do it again soon.
Seriously. And I mean, so Wes, you're going to move to Colorado? Is that what are you trying to, no, yes, no?
I mean, yeah, eventually. Not tomorrow, but.
Tomorrow.
Thank you. Well, hurry it up.
Are you?
I mean,
I like you asking him because I'm on his ass about it, so I appreciate that.
I love Colorado, so I hope that we can all hang out there together.
I mean, I was there 2 weeks ago. It's beautiful.
I was there.
I was looking up houses the day I got back.
It's magic. I love it. I love it so much. We have to do this again.
Yes, we do.
I loved it. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you. Everybody go listen to Caitlyn Smith. New single, I Can't, Old Dominion. Amazing. Thank you, Caitlyn.
Thank you for having. Y'all are the best. Take care, stay safe, and let's party soon.
You too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.